Hi everyone, it's David from Automotive Press. I am in Japan, in Toyota City. In fact, you can see the corporate headquarters right behind me. That's where Chairman Akio Toyoda, the President Koji Sato will be residing. This is the Toyota City, right beside Motomachi factory, only about half an hour from many other Toyota factories. And I am driving a Lexus LS in Japan, and in front of what we call Toyota Kaikan, which is like a corporate showroom. So I'm excited to be here, but right now what I'm going to do is to talk about the Lexus LS and why I think this is still the most beautiful Lexus ever. Let's go. Welcome back. So once again, I'm excited to be in Toyota City, driving the Lexus LS, but also visiting a number of Toyota sites. I'm just a few minutes away from, for example, Motomachi factory, where I'll be going very soon. But right now, I just want to show you the Lexus LS that we have been driving for the last couple of days. Yesterday, we drove maybe 4 or 5 hours on this. And I think this is one of the sleeper models. No one even talks about sedans anymore, let alone this one here, LS, just because people want to buy SUV and trucks. And in the case of Lexus, they would rather buy LX than the LS. But after driving this for the last couple of days, I'm convinced that we're missing out on something. We're missing on something that Lexus truly stood for, which is elegance, beauty, timeless design, and also this ridiculously smooth and refined feel that sometimes we cannot get on SUVs, especially if they're body-on-the-frame models like the Lexus LX. Whereas this one, it's extraordinarily smooth on the highway. But the real reason why I'm here is I want to share with you 5 reasons why I really do believe LS still has a very important place in the luxury car market. And if you're looking to buy something significant from Lexus or other Japanese brands, don't overlook this one. Even if you're considering a Lexus LX, you might want to just go and drive the LS because you're going to be convinced this is the true flagship in terms of feel. First thing I want to talk about of the 5 reasons why this is a beautiful Lexus to own is the fact that this one has a timeless beauty, timeless design. In much the same way, Porsche 911 has graced well over time and it has an ageless design. This one too, I think, has the beautiful elegance that Lexus is known for. Not only does it have this very interesting curve all the way from front to back, and it has kind of this muscular bulging rear quarter panel and a very long, almost like Italian flair to it. I think this timeless design won't age. You know what? If you buy this as a 2023 or 2024 model and you keep it for 20 years, it will still look pretty good actually. So I think the first reason why I'm excited still about LS is that I actually really enjoy the design of the LS, even the inside as well, which I'll show you in a minute. But mostly just because this is a classic Lexus traditional design. We just don't get that anymore, and it is truly timeless. The second reason why I still love the Lexus LS is the amazing refinement and smoothness that I don't think any other Lexus can offer. Even the LX, not quite the same level as this LS, which we have been driving for the last couple of days. And on the highway, wow, this thing feels like it's floating in the air. It literally goes over everything, even some bumpy road. And I don't think there's anything else quite like it. I'm going to be not going too far away from this parking lot right now because I am in Toyota City, right in front of the corporate showroom and corporate head office, and we're going to be going in there in a few minutes. But in terms of just quietness and smoothness, there's probably no other cars in this price range that can match this car. Even if you compare it to battery electric cars, which wouldn't have any engine sound, this thing is super quiet. And even when it's not on the highway, over the city roads and busy traffic areas, the handling, the steering feel is all really refined. Obviously, if you're a passenger, especially in the back, is the best place to be. But even for a driver, this thing is absolutely gem to drive. The third one is obvious one, and that is the fact that this is perhaps the best built luxury sedans in the world. But don't take my words for it. Go and check out JD Power, Consumer Report, or any other surveys, and it will show that the LS has been one of the most reliable vehicles in the world for many years. It is built in the Tahara factory, which is about maybe 45 minutes to an hour away from here. It is the prestigious Lexus factory where many of the Takumi specialists work. These are people with 25, 30 years of experience in building cars, and they can really figure out exactly what is the best thing to do to build high quality. You can see even inside here, all of the stitching right here is perfect. The switches feels right. There's no irregularity in terms of components or parts. I can't even put fingernail between some of these components because all the parts are so tight. And as I mentioned earlier, on the highway, not a single squeak or rattles of any kind. Absolutely quiet. I really like the fact that this particular model, which is a F Sport model, has a suede type material on the headliner. And this is different now. It used to be that all the automakers use this type of Alcantara materials, but lately even Porsche is using a cheaper simulated Alcantara, which is already a fake suede to begin with, but Lexus thankfully kept more of a true texture. So these don't have a deeper sort of a feel to it, and it doesn't feel cheap. But the choice of materials in here, especially this one here in F Sport format with the white seats and the blackout dash, is just gorgeous. And even though the design is not so trendy anymore, I still think this looks very relevant and significant for a flagship Lexus sedan. If you really want to buy the best of best from Lexus, and even if you're not the type of person who's sitting in the back, I think you would truly enjoy the interior of this vehicle just because it's almost perfectly made. Another reason why this thing is a beauty is the interior. And yes, most of us in North America prefer to drive a vehicle rather than to be driven. But right here in Japan, of course, this is used as a corporate executive's car or chauffeur car, and the back seat right here is where I want to be, or where you need to be if you want to be driven. And this is a complete, isolated, beautiful compartment that feels like a small living room. The seats are very comfortable. It's not so upright in the back. I've got lots of leg room and lots of hip room here as well. I have a center console here with some features and so forth for temperature and HVAC. It's deeply tinted here right now. I have a small mirror in here, and Mark Levinson stereo system with a speaker right here as well. And everything just feels really, really serene. Combined with that comfortable, refined, smooth feel on the road, you can just fall asleep in this car, even if it's stopped. But to be driven around in this Lexus LS is a true honor, I guess, because if you're back here and someone else is driving you, that means you're kind of important. Yes, once again, North America, we prefer to be up in the front driving, but even then, you could be driving your family members who are in the back seat here, and they're going to absolutely love it. You don't sit nice and tall like you do in flagship Lexus LX, but honestly, in terms of general smoothness and refinement and total comfort, especially for the interior, I think LS is a real champ. As I pointed out inside, this thing is absolutely beautifully made at the Tahara factory. And even though I don't have the actual tool today to measure the gaps, you can see the beautiful character of the lines here. The gaps are about 3.2 millimeters or so. I can just tell by touching it. But look at all of the lines are perfectly lined up in here. Nothing is misaligned, and the paint looks perfect. This is the caviar paint from Lexus, which is a black but with lots of flakes in it. But I can just tell by kneading like this, nothing's out of place. And even the gas cap, which oftentimes are not the best place to look for quality controls, if I look carefully, all of the seams line up perfectly. Really deep paint, looks beautiful. Exterior interior quality is perfect. There wouldn't be cars that are better built in terms of reliability, durability, and in terms of quality than this one. I think this is one of the best built cars in the world. So the fourth point I want to talk about is the way this feels for the driver. Because most people assume automatically that the Lexus LS are really for passengers to be used in kind of like a chauffeur type vehicle. But it turns out to be a really nice vehicle to drive. Granted, it is not a sports sedan by any chance, but even if you compare this to some of the German rivals, including BMW 7 Series, Mercedes S-Class, Audi A7, it actually has a pretty good road feel and a steering mechanism that give you a bit of a feedback, because many of these vehicles just feel so numb. And granted, Lexus does feel a little bit numb, but better than expected, especially in this particular version here. And I didn't realize that over the years, LS has matured and has grown up to become a world-class sedan with surprisingly good feedback and road feel. The steering is actually quite quick on the highway as well, and around the corners it stays really stable. We were driving in some really mountainous road yesterday, and this thing handled like a champ, at least for a very large luxurious sedan. Japan. The other thing I want to mention is that this one is a LS500H, which is a hybrid version, but when you step on it, it's surprisingly good. Would have loved to get a V8 engine in it like they used to offer before, but that's obviously not possible these days. But I actually like this engine a lot more than I thought. It has more than enough acceleration and power to handle some difficult situations like passing cars and so forth. And you know what, just overall I'm enjoying driving this much more than I thought, and I actually like driving this more than Lexus LS, which I drove for quite a bit a few months ago. That vehicle feels big and bulky, and it's not as stable and it's not as fun to drive as the LS. So if you actually have forgotten what sedan feels like, go back and drive it, because we are in an era where everyone's driving SUVs and trucks, but they have forgotten that handling and performance and overall stability are always better in sedans than SUVs and body-on-truck frames that are much taller than sedans. So I really enjoy driving this one here, and it's going to be sad to let this one go today, but we drove many hundreds of kilometers yesterday, and it's probably the most pleasant and enjoyable car to drive long distances. And so yeah, go and check it out. It might just surprise you. The last thing I want to mention, in case you didn't know, is that the Lexus LS and Lexus LC share the same platform. That's right, they actually share the platform and some of the powertrain as well, except for the V8 engine obviously. So if you're ever in doubt of the capability of the LS, you just have to look at the LC and say they're basically cousins, and that should give you a good indication that this LS might be much more than what you think normally. Anyway, I just want to conclude by saying I'm really enjoying my drive here in Japan. We're visiting a number of Toyota sites, and you're going to see many of those videos coming up soon. But for now, I'm going to sign off by saying I love the Lexus models in general, but this LS has truly impressed me. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up, make some comments, and if you haven't done so yet, would you kindly subscribe as well. Until next video, I'm signing off for now. Thank you.